Greetings, brothers and sisters. My name is Ernest Durham. I am the president and the CEO of the Durham Corporation. We are a 39-year-old hair care products company, black hair care products company. We make hair care products for black people. The same $500 billion industry that all of the foreigners are selling in our neighborhoods to get some of this money. So we teach that we can circulate this money among ourselves and get a big piece of that $500 billion industry that we are giving away to other people on a yearly basis. We also teach our people to be intentional with their spending. That means that you have to intend where your dollars are going. Down the stretch, brothers and sisters, there are a lot of things going on here in the country right now and in the world. So down the stretch, we have to be smarter with what we're doing. Now, we are going to start the recording now, so mute your phones if you haven't already.
The recording has started.
Now, I'm going to give you all some information, brothers and sisters. And this information will help you understand that it's time to do something to help ourselves because of this failing economy. And if this economy can affect the big businesses, brothers and sisters, well, you know you don't have a chance. Because we have been so divided, we can't stand up against whatever's coming against the economy. Our only chance, brothers and sisters, is working together. We have to unite as a team and work together if we're going to withstand this oncoming economic crunch that the whole world is feeling right now, brothers and sisters. So this is the time to take advantage of the employment opportunities that the Durham Corporation have been talking about on these last several broadcasts. And that's putting you in your own startup business, brothers and sisters, so that you can learn to buy from and sell to each other, be it our hair care products or the new coronavirus newsletter that we are distributing among each other. So there are ways for us to survive in this downturn of the economy, brothers and sisters. We don't have to be victims. We don't have to be subjected to everything that's going on. All we have to do is work together. For once in history, well, not for the first time, because we've already had Black Wall Street, and we need to recapture that. We need to get back to that, brothers and sisters, where those proud black people, that proud race of black people, bought from and sold to each other and created a very prosperous economy in this country. And we can bring it back. We just have to wake up and understand that our survival is going to be by working with each other. Now, the things that I want to talk about is some of the things that are going on in this country that some of you all may or may not know. But I'm going to mention them so you can understand what our job is and what we have to do. Now, a number of restaurants and businesses that are considered to be non-essential, and you all have heard that only businesses that are essential are supposed to be opening up. But these non-essential businesses are defying the lockdown laws in different states across America, brothers and sisters. These are restaurants and other businesses that are considered to be non-essential. They're defying the laws and they're opening up anyway, for the simple reason that their livelihoods are being stripped away from them, brothers and sisters, and their finances are going down the drain. So it's a matter of survival with a lot of these people out here. Now, there's an airline, which is the second oldest airline in the world, called Avianca, and that it's filed bankruptcy. The second oldest airline in the world, brothers and sisters, has filed bankruptcy because its fleet of planes were grounded due to the air travel restrictions that were imposed by governments worldwide, brothers and sisters, in response to the pandemic. So these flights are not taking off, they're losing money, and so they've been forced to file bankruptcy. And you'll probably see some of these other airlines following suit because of these restrictions. So as a result of the pandemic, brothers and sisters, we also have tens of thousands, or tens of millions rather, of Americans. They're living in economic depression, is what they call it. Not knowing where their next meal or the next paycheck is coming from. But see, we still have an opportunity here, brothers and sisters, regardless of what's going on out here in the world and in this country. We still have an opportunity. So, God is good. That's all I have to say. He's good. We just have to wake up and be able to see what he's doing by the Spirit, though. Now, one of the biggest problems with our public school system has been a lack of resources, brothers and sisters. In many of our country's 13,000 school districts, well, they were struggling with the, to operate even before the pandemic. And this problem will only be maximized by the economic downturn that's caused by the coronavirus, brothers and sisters. So this is another reason that this failing school system, it's another reason to understand that it's time for us to work as a team, brothers and sisters, to control our spending, to build our own cities, and operate our own businesses and our own schools. And that was my goal in the first place when we first started these broadcasts, was to build our cities and have our own schools and businesses and banks and everything else that we need, just like Black Wall Street did in the past in the 1920s. That's our pattern, brothers and sisters. We can recapture that. Everybody's sitting back waiting. They have to stay in. They can't do anything, but we're moving forward. We can still do some things to help ourselves, and this is what these broadcasts are all about, to tell you how easy it is. The time is out for sitting back waiting for the handouts, brothers and sisters. We can't depend on that. You see what's going on with these businesses. All you have to do is look at the news. Read the newspaper. Businesses are going under. And some of them are closing and taking the signs off the buildings, brothers and sisters. And I'm talking about chain stores. Renowned chain stores that we've always gone into, drugstores, grocery stores. They're taking the signs down. These are big, empty, vacant buildings now. Now, another thing to look at is that 75,000 Americans, brothers and sisters, are at risk from dying from an overdose or suicide because of the growing unemployment crisis, brothers and sisters, the economic downturns and stress because of isolation. It's very stressful to be isolated in the house all the time, and people aren't used to it. And they don't have any definite end to the date of the pandemic. And these things are causing stress and causing a lot of people to start turning to overdosing, drugs to, ease the pain of their uncertain future, and suiciding. And we've seen some cases of that. Americans have been laid off, brothers and sisters, and the unemployment rate is predicted to go up to 30% in the second quarter of 2020. Experts are predicting $2.5 trillion in lost income, brothers and sisters. That's a heavy hit on this country. Up to April of this year, 22 million Americans are unemployed. That was the date of last month. 22 million Americans unemployed, brothers and sisters. 9.2 million American workers are without health insurance. These are some staggering figures, and it's things to be considered. You got to think about these things. But even at that, everything that I'm reading to you all now, everything that we're discussing, we still have an opportunity. This doesn't have to affect us in this way. Now, the Labor Department statistics show that only 71% of the people who apply for unemployment are getting payments, brothers and sisters. Only 71%. And for one thing, the computer systems aren't capable of taking this influx of applications that are coming in. They're not set up for it. They were never prepared for this. So it's a slow process of getting these people their money. And many laid off Americans are depleting their savings, brothers and sisters, while waiting for unemployment checks to come in. And 0.5% of the wealth in America belong to blacks, brothers and sisters. And for the simple reason that we work as individuals instead of collectively and in unity. We all go out and do our own thing. Other races of people do things together. And this is what the Durham Corporation is endeavoring to teach us. If we're going to survive and don't be victims to all of these things that are going on with the economy, we've got to work together. That's our key. And maybe this pandemic is going to force us to do something that we should have been doing all along anyway. Maybe it'll push us in the right direction, brothers and sisters. Now, black people as a whole hasn't progressed at all in about 150 years, brothers and sisters. When you look at our ability to borrow money for businesses and homes, we haven't progressed in those areas. And especially when you look at the immigrants who come to this country and have only been here a few years, and we were born here, but they can get the business loans. That's why they have businesses in your neighborhoods and you don't. That's why they can get the home loans. They have homes out in suburbs, and when they sell you products, then they take your money back to those communities that they live in. And many of us, giving our money away, are still living under the poverty level. And that's about 38%, brothers and sisters, of black people in America who live under the poverty level. There are more black people in prison in America, brothers and sisters, than there are black people in Djibouti and Guinea. These are two black African countries, brothers and sisters. Our prison population is more than the population of those two countries. 90% of other races in America have their own communities, brothers and sisters, and they spend their money with their own people. We can't say that we do that, not on a large enough scale anyway. It's very scarce when you see that happen. An example is Chinatown with Chinese businesses, Koreatown with Korea businesses, Germantown with German businesses. These are people spending their money with their own ethnic group of people, brothers and sisters. We've got to learn to do the same thing. You've got Dutch communities, you've got Italian communities spending money with Italians, Polish people in their communities spending money with their people, Jewish communities spending their money with Jewish people, Russian communities spending money with Russian people, Irish communities, and so on. But blacks don't have communities, brothers and sisters. We have neighborhoods. We don't have communities. And these non-black people open their stores in our neighborhoods. Their businesses are open in our neighborhoods, brothers and sisters, so we don't really have a choice. The government don't have a good process for loaning us money. It's not a fair process, so consequently, other people are able to open up businesses in our neighborhoods, and we have to buy from them. And then they take our money to their neighborhoods, and their neighborhoods, their communities rather, they prosper. And ours turn into ghettos. But we can't blame it totally on anybody else, brothers and sisters, because we have failed as a race of people to work together. I know the deck has been stacked against us, but we can still overcome this, is what I'm saying. Our one key word is unity, brothers and sisters. Buying from and selling to each other, regardless of what it is. But I'm using the hair care industry because this is a $500 billion industry, and this is where we're giving a lot of money away. All we have to do is get behind a product and start buying it and selling it to each other. And we can still enjoy some of that wealth. So, your own community, brothers and sisters, is where you store your values. In your community, you store your wealth there, your history, your culture, your tax base, brothers and sisters, your businesses, and your employment opportunities. And we have none of these things because we don't have our own communities. We don't have Afro-American communities like Chinatown. We don't have Afro-American town. We're scattered. And in some of the most rundown neighborhoods in the country. And it's up to us to change that. I can't stress that anymore. Because when we get a little later into this presentation and you see how much money we have collectively, then we have the spending power to make some changes. But it's up to us to do it, though. Now, only 2% of American blacks work in their own communities where black people have businesses. Like I said, it's very scarce. And wealth is the key to survival, brothers and sisters. And every race in America lives off of two incomes. Keep this in mind now. They have their own 100% income. That's their own money in their neighborhoods or their communities where they circulate their money among each other. And then they have our income. They have 98% of our income. So they have two incomes. The money they get from us because we go into those stores and give them our money. We give them 98% of our money. And then they have their own 100%. So it's a wonder that we're even surviving at all. But you see the deplorable conditions that many of our people have been forced to live in with that 2%. So while every other race lives off a double income, brothers and sisters, blacks live off of 2%. And we'll never survive the future at that rate, brothers and sisters, because they're spending their money in businesses that don't belong to them. Because we don't have businesses in our neighborhoods. So we have to spend money in businesses that don't belong to us. And like I said, these businesses take that money to their own communities. And those communities are very prosperous. They don't look anything like a lot of ours. So poor black people in America won't get much financial help from rich blacks either, brothers and sisters, and we all need to understand that. Even though we see it, we see these rich black people, entertainers and sports figures and everybody, they do very little to help us because they're not allowed to. The people that made them rich would not allow them to do that. Okay, because remember, these people who made these blacks rich are pimping and hustling black people, leaving them with only 2% of their wealth. So they're not going to allow the people that they make rich to come in and help us and take that money away from them. That's not even good economics for them. And if black people were to receive help or were treated fairly, brothers and sisters, that would disrupt their profits. This is what we have to understand. You have to know what you're up against. Because remember, we spend about 98% of our money outside of our communities. So yes, we're being pimped and hustled by other people, other races of people. That's the fact of the matter. But once again, it's up to us to do something about that. Especially now that you know it, you've heard it. Maybe it's never been put this way before. Most black people just knew they didn't have much money, but now you see why. We give it away. We've got to learn to circulate it and keep it among ourselves. This is why the idea of recreating Black Wall Street is so important for us right now, brothers and sisters, because it puts us in a better position in the economic scheme of things. Okay? And the Durham Corporation wants to set you up in your own small startup business as distributors of my hair care products. Just like the Asians and the Arabs do, brothers and sisters. They sell products to us. They sell black hair care products to us. And they're very prosperous from doing that. We have to pattern ourselves after these people, brothers and sisters. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. They are selling black hair care products to us in our neighborhood. And we've got to do the same thing because the black hair care industry is a $500 billion industry that we give away on an annual basis to other people. And all I'm asking you to do, brothers and sisters, is to buy one bottle and sell two bottles to your same two people over and over and over to keep the money circulating so that I can pay you a sales commission of anywhere from $500 to $1,500 a month. It's just that simple. See, this is the same concept that Mary Kay and Amway has always used for years to get rich, and they're very successful with this procedure. It's the same direct selling concept that they've always used. So I want you to teach you that circulating the price of one bottle of product between us will create black wealth, brothers and sisters. That's what I'm trying to teach you. But I can only show you the way to financial freedom. I can't make you accept it, and I can't make you do it. We've been doing this long enough for people to have money, checks distributed among each other, so you can go out and show other people that this is something that's workable. I know we've got a mindset about people that we have to deal with. They have a mindset about selling. They want to be consumers. But consumers are not, that being a consumer is not going to make you wealthy, brothers and sisters. We have to sell. And we can't get around that. Everybody else sells, and we buy. This is why they're prosperous and most of our people are not. Now, Hispanics circulate their money 6 to 8 times, brothers and sisters, before they allow it to leave their communities. Whites circulate their money 8 to 12 times. Asians and Arabs circulate their money 13 to 14 times. Jewish people circulate their money 18 times. And the lifespan of the black dollar, brothers and sisters, is 6 hours before it leaves our community. In other words, we receive money from somewhere, a job or wherever, and we give it to other people. We go to their business and spend our money. We keep that money about 6 hours, and then it's gone. Now, another statistic here is that 1 out of every 20 Asians and Arabs has a business. 1 out of every 35 whites has a business. 1 out of every 53 Hispanics has a business. And only 1 out of every 105 blacks has a business, brothers and sisters. And business is the foundation of any race's wealth. It's about business, buying from and selling to. You've got to buy and sell, brothers and sisters. You can't just continue to buy, because there's no money coming in when you just buy, unless you're dependent on a 9 to 5 or dependent on public aid. And it's getting to the point where that looks like it's about to dry up. So we've got to depend on something else. We've got to depend on unity now. So if I can make you understand the power that we have from buying and selling to each other, brothers and sisters, that's when our dollars will continue to circulate in our communities at least 8 to 12 times, which will in turn strengthen our positions in America, brothers and sisters, as far as racism, discrimination, police brutality, and all that other inequality is concerned. But it's up to us to say that we've had enough. And you know, if we're not doing this, working together right now, then obviously we haven't had enough. But we're here, brothers and sisters. Whenever you've had enough, we're here. Just join the team. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here for you. See, we as black Americans have $1.2 trillion in spending power, brothers and sisters, collectively, not individually, collectively. This is how much we earn from working in this country. Because even though this is the largest or the most prosperous country in the world at $20.4 trillion that America generates in spending power, brothers and sisters, we get the crumbs from the table. And that's still $1.2 trillion, which is more money than most countries generate out there. There are only 11 countries that generate more money than black Americans, brothers and sisters. It's only 11. So even though we're getting the crumbs from the table, we're still the 12th most prosperous economy in the world. So we are the only black people in the world, brothers and sisters. That includes Africa and the Caribbean and everywhere else. We're the only, black Americans are the only black people in the world that has the economic strength to change our conditions from poor to rich. We're the only ones because we have access to the money to do it. But we have to work together. There's a system, brothers and sisters, and it's called unity. We also have a newsletter published by the World Health Organization on the prevention of the coronavirus, the cures, and how to keep it from spreading. And this is very simple, brothers and sisters. It's a no-brainer. And we also have newsletters on natural cures by leading medical doctors, brothers and sisters, that will strengthen your immune system to help prevent many different diseases and sicknesses that are going around, including cancer, diabetes, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, heart disease, high blood pressure, rheumatism, arthritis, and many others, brothers and sisters. We have cures. We have newsletters that give you the natural cures, and they're written by the world's leading natural medicine doctors. All those things are available for us to circulate between each other. These newsletters are only $2. $2, but you sell it to 5 people. You collect $2 from 5 people, brothers and sisters. Get in the database. That will put you in the database. And when your 5 people do the same thing, and then their 5 people each do the same thing, your name will move up in the database and you'll receive $2,000 on a monthly basis. $2,000. Anybody can afford $2. And everybody needs this information that we are making available to them. So you can receive $2,000 from the newsletter monthly, or you can receive anywhere from $500 to $1,500 by selling 2 bottles of product to your same 2 people. Over and over, brothers and sisters. You don't have to go out looking for new people. And we've got a lot of newsletters, so after we circulate the coronavirus newsletter, then we'll go into the newsletter on the cancer cures, diabetes cures, high blood pressure, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's. We've got the information. All we need to do is wake up and start circulating this valuable information or the hair care products among ourselves. So another thing I want you all to look at, brothers and sisters, is that Black Americans, buy 43% of all the cell phones in America. We buy 23% of the television, 21% of the radios, 18% of the internet. And we buy more designer purses and clothes than any other race of people, brothers and sisters. And we buy these products from people other than black people. We're consumers. And not once did you hear me mention anything about us selling anything to anybody. We buy. That is not the future of a race of people, being consumers, because that means that you've got to scrape up money from somewhere. If you're not a seller, you don't have money coming in. And the money you do have coming in, there's a chance with the way the world is going right now that it can dry up. But we can head it off, brothers and sisters. We don't have to be victims to that. And I can't stress that enough. So another thing to look at is that even though we are only about 14% of America's population, brothers and sisters, it's been reported that we commit 63% of the crime in America, and 37% of black men are incarcerated. And I'm not one to complain, because we have the economic strength to do something about it, brothers and sisters. Because look at this. Collectively, black people in America has the 12th largest economy in the world. That's the world. Out of all these countries in the world, there are only 11 countries that has more spending power than black Americans. And the other 11 countries that have more spending power than us are Russia, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Italy, France, the United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, China, and the United States. And like I said, we're getting a portion of that money from the United States. We're getting the crumbs from the table. and it still equals $1.2 trillion. Now, every other country that I just that I didn't mention, out of all these countries in the world, they generate billions of dollars a year, brothers and sisters, not trillions. Black Americans are at 1 trillion. I don't care if it's a rich oil-producing Arab country, they're still in the billions. They're not as wealthy as black Americans are collectively. Now, because of our separation from each other, brothers and sisters, we don't experience that $1.2 trillion. We don't experience it. Many of us are still living in poverty because we don't have the unity. We haven't learned to work together yet. And that's the key word. So now that we know how much money we have access to, brothers and sisters, as opposed to all the other countries in the world, and that's every country in the world except the 11 that I just named, what are we going to do with this knowledge? Use it to control our own destiny or continue to live in poverty? It's up to us, brothers and sisters. It's up to us to decide if we're going to work together and get out of this financial rut that we've been in, that we've been forced to live in. It's time to wake up and start controlling our spending power, is what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, by buying from and selling to each other and putting our money and our votes behind candidates who will speak up for us in Washington. Amen. That's what you can do with money, brothers and sisters. Because money is power. We have the money, but we don't have any power because we don't know how to direct our money. Black America is the richest black nation on earth, brothers and sisters, but because of brainwashing and self-hate, we haven't been able to get ourselves out of the deplorable living conditions that many of us have been forced to live in. So, once again, I ask you to join me, brothers and sisters, in my efforts to recreate the prosperous economy that we once had as a race of proud black people. And that's accomplished, once again, by us buying from and selling to each other, be it the hair care products, be it the natural medicine newsletters, or both. There's nothing wrong with doing them both, brothers and sisters. It's just more money for you and your family, especially in these uncertain times. So you'll be working for the Durham Corporation, brothers and sisters, and as long as you do your work, you'll continue to be paid just like on any other job. And I require you to sell those newsletters and your product to the same people twice a month. I don't need you to work any more than that, because this is a system that this company has put together, and we don't need you going to work every day. And you don't even need to leave the house. You can work from the phone. Work with your friends and relatives, but only people who you know are going to follow.